Hello everybody, welcome into the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Rays, live from Michigan International Speedway, getting ready to kick off the round of 16 here for the NOMA playoffs. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in here tonight. You are watching Austin Green on Ghost Racing Network. Drivers just got qualifying finished up, getting ready to roll off the starting grid to get this 200-mile event started here tonight. So let's take a look at what your starting lineup is going to look like for the first race of the playoffs. You'll notice right off the bat, all the playoff drivers in the round of 16 here tonight going to be highlighted in yellow. Any of the non-playoff drivers still in white. So kicking us off on the pole position here tonight is going to be Justin Parham for Grandstand Racing. He will have Grant Turner start to his outside in second. Jake Bustos back in third. Matthew Dyer to his outside. That's another one of the Grandstand Racing drivers. He will start fourth. John Lynch and Chase Greer, your regular season champion, will make up row number 3. It's going to be Zach Stevens back in 7th with William George in 8th, Russ Kilgore in 9th, and Tyler Dudley rounding edge top 10 here tonight. Riley Gomes back in 11th, Randy Bonomi in 12th. David Traylor starts 13th, Ronnie Morrison in 14th. Sam Boutwell will start from 15th, Robert Dudley to his outside in 16th. It's going to be Ryan Gomes in 17th, Richard Hurst to his outside in 18th, Jay Stinson back in 19th, and Matthew Fritz rounding out your top 20. Michael Lawrence will start 21st, rolling from his outside, Keith Prince in 22nd. John Bell back in 23rd with Joey Hickox in 24th. DJ Mattish rolls from 25th, Travis Johnston to his outside in 26th. Going to be Mark Jackson back in 27th, and John Shileno. It's one of the new drivers in the field here tonight. Going to be making his start at Michigan. We'll see what he can do. He rolls from the 28th and last position on the grid here tonight. As we roll now into your race info, looking at the event tonight, it's going to be the H&H Tractor 200. 76 degrees outside, 9% humidity, partly cloudy, clear skies here tonight. Winds at 2 miles an hour. As always, we're in the Truck Series for going to be 100 laps here tonight. 70% fuel as always. Stage brakes going to be on laps 20. Stage 2 will be at the end of lap 60. 3 green-white checkers if we need them. Everybody does have that one faster pair in their pocket, and 5 tire sets will be laying over in the pits. Track temp going to be starting out at just under 120 degrees, and looking a little bit deeper into Michigan, a high-banked 2-mile D-shaped oval. We will see. It's going to be a lot of great racing here tonight. A lot of grooves that you can work at Michigan. And I'll tell you what, with the, I don't want to say new, but newer package, last time I got to race here in the trucks, it was a lot of slipping and sliding. And with the hot track temp that we have here tonight, I think you are going to see more of the same. Playoff drivers also going to be annotated by a P next to their name here tonight. So if you still aren't able to find who is who, let me know. We'll try to add a little bit more next week. But here we go. Pace Truck's going to make the hard left turn. We were here last season. We're here again this season. The round of 16. All these guys still with a chance at going for a championship. Green flag is in the air. Lap 1 is going to go to Grant Turner, but Justin Parham is giving him a heck of a time on the inside, trying to see if he can maybe complete a little bit of a slide job as he sends it all the way down to the apron, down through turns 1 and 2, going to slide right up in front, and he is indeed going to complete that pass on the 7. You see Grant Turner carrying big momentum as he gives a bump draft to Justin Parham down the back straightaway. And the 19 got a little unsettled. Now it's going to be his teammate Matthew Dyer jumping to the inside. And again, we'll see that inside working early, the outside. I think we're going to see more guys start to migrate to the middle and top as this run goes on, but you got to make passes while you can get them here at Michigan. And that draft keeps everybody nice and packed together, and that means they're going to fight that much harder for real estate. No gain so far, though, for the driver of the 90 truck. John Lynch actually lost a position as he's trying to hold off Russ Kilgore. He's already up 2 from where he started. But you can see just how hectic it is right now for Justin Parham. Can't defend both lanes. And right now he's just sticking to the outside, keeps getting that push from Grant Turner. And as long as Dyer isn't able to get clear off the nose of Justin Parham, then he's not going to be able to complete that pass because the 19 just carrying way too much momentum down the straightaways. 74 of Jake Bustos, not a playoff driver, but trying to make some noise early. Currently the highest running non-playoff driver, as we see Russ Kilgore, as he runs at the top 5, may not be in the playoffs, but did get the win last week in the All-Star race at Atlanta. So he kind of knows, at least has a feel for how these high-speed, high-downforce tracks such as Michigan are going to run. And he's got a good run going here early, but we'll see what Jake Bustos can do as he loses that position now to Russ Kilgore. There's Grant Turner still leading the way, and he is one of the drivers carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. In fact, he's got the onboard and the pedal cam, and a lot of people wouldn't think of it. These pedals are going to start to get used more and more as the run goes on. Right now, still pretty wide open for Grant Turner. In fact, if you take a look at the dashboard speed as we put him away, 187, almost 190 miles an hour as they get down into turn number 1. The speed's going to continue to fall off as the night goes on, but Parham lost that spot. You see now trapped in the dirty air behind the back bumper of the 7 truck. He'll slide up. Russ Kilgore still working that top line and making a lot of speed up there, as I think Justin Parham right now just trying anything that he can to find a spot in line to slide up. Nobody's giving him an inch right now, as it is a long single file train on that outside line. Matthew Dyer, though, also the other Grandstand Racing teammate in the playoffs, trying to find a way to slide up. Ooh, pig wiggle off of turn number 4, a couple rows back. I think that might have either been John Lynch or the man just behind him, William George, in the 96. Both of those two playoff drivers. John Lynch with a couple wins on the season. William George looks like he does not have the yellow banner here tonight, but again, is one of the playoff drivers. You notice the trucks with the yellow spoilers and yellow sunshade, I guess I should say sun strip, just at the top of the front windshield. More of the things that are kind of annotating which guys are which, and you usually see everybody that's not in the playoffs start to, I would say, maybe race each other just a little bit less aggressive in terms of if they don't see that bright yellow banner, maybe don't race him too hard, at least early on in the race. Cut a guy some slack, as you know he's got a lot more at stake than you might. And we are seeing Jay Stinson, not the best qualifying run, but he is up 3 positions from where he started. Currently sits in 16th, looking for a couple of his teammates here. Joey Hickok's back in 23rd position, up a spot from where he started. Matthew Fritz, though, going a little bit in the wrong direction right now. He's actually down 5 spots from where he started. And so as of right now, Hickok's Racing does not have a driver inside the top 15 just yet. And we know they like to fast tracks like this, but up front, still a gaggle of trucks all the way back to about your top 15 here. Grant Turner going to lose the lead now to Justin Parham, who's working the inside, trying to hold him off, see if he can't get maybe a little bit of a side draft to the door of the 19, but he's not quite going to be able to hold him, at least not get clear. Parham with a lot of momentum and a push here from his teammate. He'll dive down into 1, and he's looking to reclaim the lead. John Lynch now moving back up. He sits in that 4th spot. There you go, the 19 trying to go by. Oh, man, Justin had a chance to slide up. Looked like he decided better of it. It's going to cost him here as he's going to lose some momentum off of 2. Everybody kind of got that reset week last week at Atlanta. First time everybody's back really racing with some stakes on the line. But I think Michigan's a good track to ease into the playoffs. A lot of guys love it. A lot of high speeds. Oh, man. You saw Randy Bonomi slip up on the bottom back there in 12th. Talked about the hot track temp. The bottom a lot narrower of a radius than if you run around the top, and I'm telling you, it's going to get really slick. And once the back starts to slip out, sometimes it is hard to catch with these trucks. As Bonomi, notice how he doesn't go all the way down to the yellow line. You really can't afford to do that here. If you try to get all the way down to the yellow, the back tires just slip out. The lowest line you really want to go here after the first 3 or 4 laps is exactly what Bonomi ran right there. Just above that first seam. You got to stay patient, wait for the truck to rotate, try to accelerate on exit without getting too loose. And up front, you can see once you take the lead, you got the clean air, you got choice of whatever lane you want. And Justin Parham right now is taking full advantage of that top line, works to the bottom to pull his teammate back even. And he's probably trying to see if he can pull Matthew Dyer clear of Grant Turner. But Grant going to get a big push now from John Lynch in the 90, going to carry a lot of momentum into 1. Justin Parham, how's he going to defend it this time? Takes the air away from the 7 as he stays up top. And further back, we got 3-4 wide racing. Everybody continues to fight for position. And still 10 laps in, and you can tell that the draft still has just as strong of an effect as it did at the start of this race. None of the leaders really been able to pull away at all from anybody behind him. Saw Grant Turner take the lead. Parham took it back. Right now, the gap between first and second is dead even, as actually Dyer looking to make a pass here on the 19 off of turn number 4. And if he could just find a way to slide in line right behind his teammate here, I think that would help Grandstand Racing's strategy out, but he's not going to be able to do it. Another big push to the back bumper of Grant Turner. This time it's off the front bumper of William George. John Lynch going to move down the lane, see if he can find some grip. And just behind these two, you see the bright yellow truck, the 40, having a pretty good run early. That is Chase Greer, your regular season champ. John Lynch around. He's not going to save it. 90's going to go for a spin as the caution comes out. Did he keep it off the inside wall? And we're looking for him here. There he is. He sure enough did. No damage to the front or back of the 90. Just a harmless spin. He'll get it pointed back in the right direction. Continue on his way, but again, does draw first blood here tonight in terms of the caution. That's going to be 4 fresh tires as he went for quite a spin. Let's go back and take a look at exactly what happened to the 90. You saw him start to get out of shape a couple times. He tried to save it, but I'm thinking he may have just gotten a little bit behind on his steering, and it's so easy to do in these trucks. I mean, these guys are already right on the edge of control, and a little bit of contact can send you over that edge. So here you go. The 90 creeping up the track. Ooh, looked like there was a pretty significant amount of net code right there between John and William George. George holding a nice steady wheel down the back straightaway. John starting to slowly creep up. Actually, looks like George was actually creeping down a little bit here. As we back that up, you see John maybe slightly creeping up. And then right here, George starts coming down, but I don't think they're ever going to touch. Looked like George was starting to get it straightened back out. Again, I think he was just kind of setting himself up for the pass here on Grant Turner, as they had split 3 wide, but right there, game thinks they make contact, even though they never do. That sends John Lynch into the side of William George. He wiggles a couple times trying to save it, and eventually the truck gets about 45 degrees offset to the right, sends him that time hard into the door of William George, and now he's along for the ride as he's going to spin down low. Man, Robert Dudley just barely misses him. John does a nice job of locking it down. Oh, actually, he does make some contact with the wall. Didn't see that initially, as you see. I mean, the front, couldn't tell. I mean, it doesn't really look like he got any damage, but yeah, it did make a little bit of contact. So he'll probably go in, get a little bit of that optional damage repaired. So we take a couple different looks at it. Watch how close this gets for Robert Dudley in the 49. Swerves low. Man, almost made the wrong decision. Luckily, the 90 slides out of the way just in time. As let's take a ride on board here, actually, with John. There you go. He's just trying to save it. Gets it back turned, but the truck at this point just doesn't want to steer out of it. Too much of a slide to the left side. Gets it back rolling as we will take one more look at this here from TV3. 90, the only truck involved in the first incident here of the night. And yeah, it looks like a decent shot. Again, with how aerodynamic Michigan is, you really don't want to experience any damage on the front of the truck. You get it in the back, sometimes you can get away with it. But I think John should be okay here, not having to use a fast spare. You don't want to waste it if you don't have to. And so with that caution, as we move back up front in the field, it is Justin Parham currently leading the way. He's got his teammate Matthew Dyer just behind him, sitting in second. The regular season champion, and the regular season, probably, well, not necessarily just regular season, but probably the rookie of the year, at least as it stands right now. Chase Greer currently up 3 spots from where he started. Robert Dudley back in 4th. There's Richard Hurst in 5th. Zach Stevens currently sits in 6th. Ryan Gomes back in 7th. He's up 10 from where he started so far tonight. Michael Lawrence in 8th. DJ Maddish 9th. And Travis Johnston currently rounding out your top 10 in the 05 machine. Had a little bit of a rough go last week at Atlanta, but nonetheless back out here tonight, seeing if he can get a little bit better luck, maybe go fight for that first win of the season. And it looks like we are going to get the 1-to-go signal. And looking at the stage breaks, expecting the end of stage 1. Actually, not really expecting. We know the end of stage 1 is going to be at the end of lap 20. So once we take the green, it'll be a 6-lap sprint. And those stage points, anybody that is here in the playoffs, they're going to be fighting extra hard for those. And right now, your top 5, all playoff drivers, this is going to make for one fun restart. But if you notice through that first stint, it seems like the Grandstand Racing teammates were almost kind of working together. Not quite the same way that you would at Daytona or Talladega, but certainly looked like they had a truck leading both of the lines, and that actually allowed them to kind of, I would say, maybe stall out the momentum of anybody behind. Nobody was really able to make enough of a run to push either one of those trucks clear once they had gotten back around Grant Turner. And we'll see how they decide to hold off Chase Greer and Robert Dudley right here. And you can't count out Richard Hurst, your season opener Daytona winner. Was in the NOMA Truck Series kind of part-time last season. Makes the full-time start this season. Does a nice job making his first playoff berth as well. You know, he'd like to continue on to the round of 8 here in just a couple races. Looks like Richard Hurst in the chat earlier for NOMA TV says, welcome race fans. Show some love to Ghost Racing Network, hitting the like, share, and subscribe, and absolutely, certainly appreciate it. Still on the road to 1,000, kind of hit a brick wall once we hit 900, but slow progress is progress. Nancy Hickok's in here, says, hey, Austin, ready to watch a good race? And that's certainly what it's been so far, Nancy. Looking for more of the same right here. Green flag is back in the air. A big jump for Justin Parham. He will get right in front of, it looked like Matthew Dyer, maybe with a little bit of a slow start, so he'll have the option to drop down in front of his teammate. The 40, though, Robert Dudley on the outside in the 49. Chase Greer, nowhere to go. He has to back off. That's actually going to let the 49 set himself up to get down low on the exit of the corner. He does just that. Now looking for a pass on Matthew Dyer as they split 3 wide further back. Again, everybody trying to get in any position they can here so you can have track position for that second stage. William George with a big side draft to the left rear of Jake Bustos, taking it to the inside. Now he starts to slide up. Sam Boutwell looking to make some ground here on the bottom. 4 wide off of turn number 4. Further back, you see John Lynch also trying to make some more progress through the field. He currently sits 3 wide in the middle. He's going to bail out of it as they go down into turn 1. All the playoff guys, remember, some of these guys chose to take, actually, they all probably chose to take new tires. But some of them going to try to use those tires up maybe a little bit more than others right here, trying to make some position back up. And it's a little bit easier to make up those positions the further back you are. But they stayed 3 wide back here. Looks like that was Tyler Dudley in the middle of all of it in the 15. Joey Hickox on the outside. Now Randy Bonomi's going to dive to the inside of John Bell, trying to make it a 2-for-1 as he looks to the inside of Travis Johnston in the 05. And back up front, now we're going to fan out almost 3 wide for the lead as Matthew Dyer took a look. But it's Robert Dudley who moved into second, now trying to make a move on your leader, Justin Parham. And as they go into turn 1 on new tires, I have to say I think the inside maybe gets a little bit of an advantage. But with the momentum that Justin Parham can hold on the top, I think it's going to take Travis really kind of trying the dive bomb move, right? And if he's not careful, Grant Turner says, you know what, I'll take the lead here. Maybe thinking about 3 wide, but he's going to stay behind the 49, at least for another set of corners. In fact, if we hop on board here real quick with this 7 truck of Grant Turner, here we go. There's the move to the inside of Robert Dudley, who took the lead from Justin Parham, who had a big slip up. In fact, I'm thinking Justin may have gotten into the outside wall. Let's back this up a little bit. And does he just get loose here? What happens to all his momentum? Yeah, he does. He's going to get loose going into the turn. You see he's got his teammate Matthew Dyer behind and trying to hold a lot of speed. Yeah, the truck just starts coming around. He catches it. Beautiful save, but as much momentum as you got to carry here at Michigan down the straightaways and through the corners, that cost him a lot of position. And so now that Grant Turner took the lead, he's going to try to hold on to it for 2 more laps when we hit the line this time. Jake Bustos moving into second place, trying to take that spot from Robert Dudley. Matthew Dyer, they all just continue to fight. 3 wide again down the front stretch. William George going to get to these 3 trucks stalled out. Does he think about taking it 4 wide into 1? Or does he try to give one of them a push? Not quite going to get there. All this battling, allowing your 2 leaders to pull away. Grant Turner not really looking out the front windshield, looking out the mirrors. Yellow flag is in the air. Big wreck out back here. Looks like, oh, we got one upside down. It's John Lynch in the 90 truck. Gets back on all 4. Oh, my goodness. What a wreck for John Lynch. Keith Prince, the 03, heavy, heavy damage. He's going to have to tow his car back to the pits as well. Looks like Justin Parr might have some damage. Zach Stevens. And man, oh man. However these guys wrecked, they wrecked big. Let's go back and take another look. It starts on the, looks like the front straightaway entrance to turn 1 area. And I mean, these guys are 4 wide. And sometimes you just kind of realize that it's not going to work. Usually some people back out, but this late in the stage, they're going for it. And yeah, you can see some contact right there with the 03 of Keith Prince, one of the playoff drivers, and looks like the 4 of Russ Kilgore here. And Keith moving up slightly. Yeah, I mean, they just run out of real estate. Can't really put that on anybody as doing anything wrong. They're just all running so tight. I mean, look at the room. There's not much. I mean, Russ Kilgore trying to hold all he can hold here. Keith Prince trying not to lose any positions. And some slight contact between the 4 and the 03 sends the 03 down into John Lynch, gets him up into the 4 of Russ Kilgore, and now the wreck's on. You see the 90 of John Lynch going down the track. Not sure exactly how he flips. He's got to hit this inside wall pretty hard, I would presume. Yeah, that's exactly what he does. Man, look at that impact for the 90. That is a wild, wild barrel roll for John Lynch. That is going to be my candidate for the worst wreck we have seen all season. My goodness. And you got to hope for the sake of John Lynch that he did not take that fast repair earlier, because he had to immediately tow after this one. And watch again from the wider view, everybody that gets involved. Actually, I'll tell you what, it really ends up not being all too bad. I mean, Justin Parham, Randy Bonomi, and Zach Stevens get a pretty good amount of it too, but Keith Prince, John Lynch, easy to say, got the worst of that one. As let's go take a ride on board actually here with John Lynch, and if you get dizzy easy, you might want to close your eyes for a minute. Watch this ride for John Lynch. And I mean, count the barrel rolls. Man, oh man. It's that inside wall that really gets him here. So he just nowhere to go. Him and Keith Prince were actually almost net-coated together, which I think kind of contributes to the ramping up of the 9-0 truck. And then once he lands, gets some momentum going, the roof digs in, and now it is on from there. You know, the 07. I was wondering what in the world is actually, he lands on top of the 07. Didn't even catch that initially of Michael Lawrence. And John Lynch is going to roll a couple more times before he finally gets back on all four tires towards the bottom of the banking. It's right on board now from the nose cam here. Actually, the roll bar, rather, of Michael Lawrence. As he doesn't see too much here, all of a sudden he sees the 90 flipping, and that is definitely a wild one for sure. Take one more look at it here from the pit lane cam. And so as we go back live, looks like John Lynch currently still in the pits, trying to figure out, yeah, I think he might still be paying that long tow bill that he had to do for towing from turn one. Remember, again, the farther you are from the entrance to pit road, the longer that you're going to have to wait on pit road to tow it. And again, if he used his fast repair under that first incident that he was involved in, then this would bring his night to an end. I didn't think he did, though. We'll have some more on that here in just a couple laps. The pace car, though, going to get the one-to-go signal. We'll line up 2x2 again, with Sam Boutwell being scored as your leader, Grant Turner in second, Tyler Dudley third. Jake Busto's back in fourth, with John Bell rounding out your top five. And that did end stage number one, so as we actually go take a look, and you look back towards the front of the field here, it looks like indeed it was Grant Turner leading the way at time of caution, with Jake Busto second. And then the mad scramble out back, we're going to leave to the officials to sort out. But nonetheless, Grant Turner, your stage one winner, and he'll line up on the outside here. I think he might have the preferred lane if he can hang on through turns 1 and 2. As it looks like in the chat, Nancy Hickok's talking about the first incident. Says, way to hang on, number 90. You avoided others from hitting you. Netcode, not sure. And I mean, it was certainly Netcode that sparked that first incident with John Lynch. Not the one that we just saw, but the one where he had ended up making slight contact with the inside wall. And after that, just pretty good avoidance by everybody else to make sure they missed it. And so as we go back in the field looking for John Lynch and company, looks like John is back out on track, and he has gotten that truck cleaned up, used his one and only fast repair of the night. The only problem now for John Lynch is that he currently sits 2 laps down. Going to need a couple cautions. Green flag is back in the air. Stage 2 is underway. Sam Boutwell following in the footsteps of Justin Parham. He gets a phenomenal restart. Going to jump right up in front of Grant Turner, try to be the Pied Piper around Michigan. Jake Busto still rolling that middle line. Grant Turner up top. We've seen Grant showing a lot of short run speed here early. Haven't really gotten into the distance of a long run just yet. Remember, these guys have 70% fuel. And with this second stage being 40 laps, I don't believe that they're going to be able to make it actually just under 40. Probably right around 37. And actually, I'm still messing that up. I apologize. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be 37 as they cross the line this time. Laps to go in the stage. And I'd have to assume they could probably make it right around 20 laps, maybe a couple more. So again, not going to make it all the way here, but certainly shouldn't be more than a one-stopper this stage. And if we get to the end of that run, that's where we're going to start to see who can hold off the longest. And again, at the end of this run, that's when we'll start to see the draft maybe not be as effective. You might see a couple guys start to pull away, but we're seeing some of the Hickox Racing guys start to make some noise now. Jay Stinson The biggest mover on the Hickox Racing team is actually second biggest mover, Matthew Fritz, up 10 from where he started, now inside the top 10. And then Jay Stinson currently sitting back in 14th in that 31 truck. And up front, Matthew Dyer taking a look to the inside here of Sam Boutwell. John Bell, another non-playoff driver that's trying to make some noise up here at the front. And as everybody dives down, looks like he is trying to roll the top line, able to drive it in a lot farther. And Matthew Dyer, the only one on the bottom, getting some clean air, man. A lot of door-to-door action up front. Jake Bustos laid it on the right side door of Grant Turner. That's what he had to do to hold some speed. He's going to see if Grant tries to side draft the 74 back. Doesn't look like he will. So Jake Bustos, the rookie, he will get clear down into turn number 3 as Grant's going to try to fight back. Can the 74 lead his first lap of the night? Sure enough, he will get clear of the 7 as Grant's going to try to slide right up in that second position. Matthew Dyer back at third, and we saw Justin Parham involved in that first accident. He now finds himself back in 24th, currently sitting as the last truck on the lead lap. And unfortunate news for Justin here is that he's not with the pack. As you see, currently sitting about half a track behind him. So he is going to need a caution as well here shortly. And if he's able to survive to the stage break without going a lap down, then he'll catch the field and have another chance at it. But Matthew Dyer now has taken second away from Grant Turner. Robert Dudley and Sam Boutwell battling for fourth. Just behind them, Matthew Fritz already found his way up to 5th now. And had just been talking about him up inside the top 10. Continuing to push forward, Riley Gomes. I feel like Riley maybe considered a little bit one of the more underdog picks for the playoffs. We saw him have some strong runs throughout the season. A couple tracks that you thought he had a chance at a win. Things didn't quite work out. Wasn't able to find that first win of the season yet, but he did get himself into the round of 16. And, you know, if you're only going to get a couple wins throughout the season, the best time to get him is in the playoffs because that's when they count for the most. Ooh, contact out back. One truck into the wall. It's going to be John Bell. Heavy damage to the right front of the 5 machine. Gets into the outside wall again as the whole pack will go by. We'll see if he chooses to take it down to the pits. Looked like just some slight contact with another driver below. Up front, not going to affect the way this battle continues to play out. And actually, it seems like these guys are getting separated a little bit quicker. I'm not sure if we got some varying strategies going on with potentially a little bit of fuel and tire saving. Here's DJ Madish back in 10th, up 15 from where he started. Looking to the inside of the regular season champion, Chase Greer. Jay Stinson now up inside, just about inside the top 10 here as he's fighting for 11th. Trying to take it away from DJ Madish, and now that will move the 31 truck into the top 10. Sam Boutwell sitting behind Matthew Fritz. Richard Hurst up there in 6th position. And so your top 3 actually make it top 4 all within a second gap of each other right now. And that draft goes all the way back, I would say, here at a track like Michigan to about a second and a half. Maybe more like about a second and 3/10 where Matthew Fritz currently sits. So you can make the argument that everybody in your top 7 is still within range here to catch your leader. And of course, the secondary drafts that break off from the first one. As long as everybody is still on relatively newer tires, then that draft is the great equalizer. It's when those tires start to wear out here at Michigan that you start to see everybody separate and the faster trucks prevail. And right now, how about Jake Bustos and Matthew Dyer starting to slowly create a little bit of a gap on the field? These two maybe going to work with each other just a little bit. And again, right now, Jake Bustos now the playoff driver. So while Matthew Dyer wants as many stage points as he can possibly get, sometimes you got to help people help you. And if he can help Jake Bustos and himself pull away from the rest of the pack, that could make it just about between these two for the end of the stage. But doesn't look like Grant Turner is going to go away too easily. Got some clean air on the nose now, and he's going to try to pull away from the back bumper of Robert Dudley and closer to... Oh, we got contact. Joey Hickox around out back. Caution is out. The 3 trucks in it, and it looks like one more, and I think that's the 69 of Ronnie Morrison. And so already your third caution here of the night, only 30 laps in. Michigan showing to be quite chaotic so far tonight. Looks like Joey with heavy damage. Almost looks like you would have to assume some fluid or something coming out of the back of that truck. You saw it all falling out of the back there. I'm not sure if he's scraping something. And there's the gearbox view for Joey Hickox. You see Ronnie Morrison's got some damage on the front end as well. He'll have to bring it down to the pits as I think Joey's going to probably try to stay out right here until pit road opens up. Yeah, sure enough, neither truck has smoke, but I mean, that is definitely going to be a fast repair for Joey Hickox. Heavy, heavy damage. And let's go take a look at what happened here. This is coming off of turn number 2. See Joey and Ronnie racing hard. Ronnie got right to his back bumper. I think it looked like at least Joey had maybe started to slip up just a little bit. And here's a look from the blimp cam. Yeah, you see how Joey starts to slide up and then just gets loose. Gets really loose. Gets down into John Lynch. And that sends Joey back up. John's going to go for a slide. Does he miss contact with the inside wall? Oh, he does. Comes to a halt just before he hits it. But, man, rough night so far for John Lynch. He has had his fair share in every single one of these cautions so far. And here's another look at it. So, you know, Joey, I'm not sure if he had been getting loose before, and I think the cockpit view is going to give us a pretty good idea. You see, actually, this is Ronnie Morrison. We're going to go to Joey Hickok for this. From the start of the corner here, you're going to see Joey work to the bottom of the track. Not to the bottom, but middle lane of the track. And as he starts to come up, just looks like he's getting loose. And I was going to say, I'm not sure if he had been trying to cut off the lane that Ronnie Morrison had. And he got clear, but as soon as he got up in front of the 69, maybe took a little bit of air off of his rear spoiler, and it just started to send that 3 truck right around. I think he maybe has a chance of saving this. Unfortunately for him, the 90 truck of John Lynch was just going by at the exact time. And so watch as the 3 starts to slip, gets into the 90, and there's the big hit for Joey Hickox and Ronnie Morrison as they gathered up on the outside wall, and then John Lynch goes for a long slide and just stops. I mean, probably within feet before hitting that outside wall, was able to get it back rolling pretty quick. Let's take a ride on board here, actually, out of the roll bar for John Lynch. And he sees this, just an innocent victim. As he locks it down, and man, I think that might have been the 07 of Michael Lawrence. Again, another close call as he was able to just miss the 90 of John Lynch. Take a couple more looks at it. So Joey Hickox, Ronnie Morrison. I don't know if Ronnie will, but I think that's definitely going to be a faster pair for Joey. And he should still have one sitting over here. We'll take one final look at it from TV3. But John Lynch very lucky to have not hit that inside wall because remember, he has already used his fast pair for the night. So fortunate news is he's not going to get a lap back through that one because he was part of the caution, and that's how the rule works. So looks like for John Lynch, he's still going to be stuck 2 laps down after that incident. Joey Hickox looks like he was able to go and take his fast pair back out on track now. And 33 of 100 laps complete. Jake Bustos being scored as your leader here at Michigan. Grant Turner second. Riley Gomes back in third. Richard Hurst fourth. Matthew Fritz sixth. And Matthew Fritz in fifth. Jay Stinson back in sixth. DJ Maddish seventh. David Traylor eighth. William George in ninth. And Matthew Dyer rounding out your top 10. And I mean, there you go. Out of your top 10, you look at it, 8 of them are playoff drivers. But 28 truck field to start here tonight. We already have had 2 guys that look like issues, as I believe the rookie John Shalino did not start the race here tonight. And then Mark Jackson in the 01 must have had trouble as well. I don't believe he made it out on track. John Bell needed that caution after he had made some contact with the outside wall while under green. And so I still don't think anybody's going to be good to go on fuel for the rest of the stage. But it's certainly going to make that one stop a little bit more reassuring, as you shouldn't have to worry about saving quite as much tire and fuel. And I think that window is probably going to open somewhere around maybe lap 40, maybe a couple laps after to play it safe. And I don't really see much other strategy involved here. Jake Bustos is going to try to do the same thing he just did during that last run. That is to pull away from the rest of the field. Now, Justin Parham, we talked about, he really needed that caution. He is currently being scored back at 18th. But I believe he got that truck cleaned up. Certainly looks like it. It's a good-looking metal yellow 19 machine here tonight, so he will be trying to make up some more positions here on this restart. And as we go back up front, getting ready to wave the green flag again. Cleanup finished up, and Jake Bustos through the gears we go with a good restart. Grant Turner trying to play catch-up here. He's not going to be able to drop down in front of the 9 of Riley Gomes. At least not yet. Now he's going to get an assist from Richard Hurst. The 7 will get clear down into turn 1. We'll see which lane he decides to go with. And it looks like he is going to stay up top trying to work some momentum. Jake Bustos, the only thing you got to worry about of getting that good of a restart is when they catch you, they are going to have a lot of momentum. What can the 74 do once the 7 is able to get to him? He's not going to get to him down the back straightaway. And all the racing that we've seen, most of it goes on through the middle to the back of the pack on these restarts. And actually, it seems like maybe guys starting to calm down just a little bit. Still fanning out 3 and 4 wide. Michigan plenty wide enough to do it. But as they get down on the front straightaway, things start to condense up a little bit. Matthew Dyer looking 3 wide on the inside right there of DJ Maddish. He'll tuck back in line behind the 25. Now we're going to see Grant Turner pull out of line. He's going to take a look to the inside. Will he try the slide job right here? And it certainly looks like he's trying it, but he's not going to be able to complete it. So he'll have to come back up and try to find a spot and line. Going back a little bit through the field here. I want to give shout-outs and show a little bit about the guys who did decide to run driver camps for us here tonight. David Traylor had a chance last week at Atlanta on the last lap. Things did not work out, but certainly showed a lot of speed. And again, that's going to translate here to Michigan tonight. There he is, one of the guys carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. And David, we certainly appreciate it. We'll see if that 54 can get a win here tonight and advance himself to the round of 12. Richard Hurst got the win at Daytona to kick off the season. Just now going to fall outside the last podium position as he moves to 4th. Another one of our guys carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight as he races in VR. And Grant Turner looked like he was going to make a move to the inside of Matthew Dyer. I'll tell you what, though, Richard Hurst is right in the middle of all this chaos. And if we take a ride on the cockpit view, listen to how much throttle time there is right now. That's what's making this racing so aggressive. As he gets in clean air, you see the truck start to get a little bit tight on him. But, man, he puts the throttle down on exit. That's where he's able to carry all his speed. Saluting the broadcast. Certainly appreciate it, Richard. And the last man with it on board for us here tonight. We got to show him a little bit earlier. Not for reasons that we wanted to, though. It was for trouble that he's been having all night. And the struggles, as of right now, kind of continuing for John Lynch as he is trying to make up position. But you see he is falling back from the rest of the pack. And this might be out of a little bit of caution right here. Again, I don't think he really sustained any damage under that last wreck that he got involved in. But he didn't get the lucky dog because he was involved. And it looks like right now he's not in position to get his lap back because Keith Prince is also currently sitting a lap down. So just sitting back from the pack and hoping that maybe Keith gets involved in the wreck, and he doesn't. Either way, though, those are two playoff drivers, and both of them with trouble here early. Matthew Dyer took the lead away from Jake Bustos. Looked like he got shot out of a cannon. I mean, where did he come from? And now trying to stretch it out a little bit as the gap currently sits at 0.4 of a second. Tires make a big deal here at Michigan. Even if you have just probably about a 5-lap difference, is 3 wide back here, though, is where the main battling is. You see Justin Parham starting to work his way back to the field, looking to pick up a couple positions right here. And the 19 machine is up to 12th, getting ready to be knocking on the back door of the top 10. And TJ Madish got loose there. You saw Robert Dudley not going to let him have any more real estate than he needs to save it. He'll jump right to the top of 3 wide. And DJ still with nowhere to go. As it looks like now the 40 is going to split him 3 wide on the top as well. Zach Stevens going with his teammate. So DJ Madish just within the matter of 2 turns and a straightaway. Going to lose probably about 5 to 7 positions. Justin Parham now has it stretched out to almost half a second. Now it is half second further back. Looked like Grant Turner got just a little bit of a kiss with that outside wall right there. No harm, no foul, but it seems like here at Michigan, it's the exits of the turns are really wide, kind of sweeping. Like turn 2 is a lot wider on exit than it looks like, but sometimes guys maybe get a little bit too lackadaisical with their exit, think that they can wash up, and all of a sudden the truck gets a little bit tight. You're into the outside wall. And the trucks do have a tendency to get tight as the run goes on, but loose at the same time, right? Tight in the sense of you can't drive it as far down in the corner, but loose in the sense of you try to get on the throttle too quick, and the back end wants to snap around. So as Matthew Dyer continues to pull away up front, he is just hoping that we can cruise to a green flag pit stop, where he would hopefully look to try to continue to stretch his lead out as Grant Turner continues to fall. Truck just not doing what he wants it to do right now as Robert Dudley looking for 4 wide right here between David Traylor and Sam Boutwell. So Riley Gomes have to tuck just below the apron, and Riley's actually going to make his pit stop right here, it looks like. I believe this is going to be the first man down to the pits. Sure enough, it is. And so Riley Gomes maybe going to try a little bit of strategy out as the pit window just opened up. And we will see if this maybe is kind of the catalyst to start making everybody else think about making their pit stop. We'll see if the 9 decides to take 4 tires and fuel right here. As you hop in the cockpit view, you see the crew work around to the right side. There you go. They're going to prop it up, change all 4 tires. And then as they come around, they should change lefts as well. I don't think Riley would just take 2. Yeah, sure enough. So he'll take 4 and fuel. And now the question is going to be, how do the rest of these guys play the strategy out? Matthew Dyer choosing not to pit. He's going to stay out right now. And I mean, you might as well with the amount of time he's making up. Jay Stinson up to 6, 3 wide in the middle. Justin Parham on the bottom. Zach Stevens up top. The 31's trying to get clear. I think Parham's going to cut Jay a little bit of a break right there as he was indeed able to get clear down into turn 1. And so as Jay Stinson will now take over that 5th position. Matthew Fritz currently sitting just ahead of him, and Joey Hickox involved in that wreck earlier. trying to recover, currently sits in 19th. Good news for Joey is he's still on the lead lap. The bad news is it's just been so hard here tonight for these guys to work through traffic. That's why we've seen restarts be so aggressive. Big slip up right there for Zach Stevens. And still no pit stops for the rest of your leaders. Look at Riley Gomes. There's the difference. The new tires. That is not for position right now. He's just going to get a lap back. But, I mean, he looks like he's Superman right now, absolutely flying through the rest of the field. And you got to think some of these guys are seeing that, saying, man, I want myself some new tires. Riley Gomes on a rocket ship right now, just hugging the bottom two like it's nothing. Jay slips up a little bit. He'll get by the 31. Now he's looking to get by the 47. And, ooh, contact out back. That's John Bell again. Into the outside wall, almost similar to what we saw the first time for the 5 truck. John Bell able to save it again as he's running the top now through 3 and 4, but a couple struggles for the 5. Jake Busto's still out, and trying to see if we had anybody else that was near the lead pit yet, but it just doesn't look like, as Riley Gomes will now get back on the lead lap. Maybe William George, as Keith Prince still a lap down. Ryan Gomes in 20th in the 22 machine. And here we go. Grant Turner going to be the second man in his box. And then Keith saw that the 9 went flying by on new tires. And again, it's always, I tell you what, just as a driver, it's straight up more fun to be on offense than to be on defense. So Grant's going to bring it into the box here. He'll take 4 tires and fuel as you see the right side get jacked up. And he'll go out there and see if he can make a run. Maybe try to make up some time on your current leader, Matthew Dyer. Gives a little wave to the camera. As we go back up front, speaking of your leader, Matthew Dyer, ooh, hold on, we're going to have some more pit stops. We'll back this up. It is going to be one of the Hickox Racing drivers here. 2 of them, Matthew Fritz and Jay Stinson, running a similar strategy. And from the sound of it, sounds like Jay's usually the strategy caller for the Hickox Racing team. And so when they get back out, they'll have about 15 laps to try to make up whatever positions they've lost so far. But actually, those 2 guys were kind of on the move, and I guess the only thing everybody's really fighting here is I like the idea of pitting early, because Matthew Dyer must have been on some sort of a little bit of a strategy call on newer tires, because he absolutely had just gapped the rest of the field within a couple laps. I mean, you're looking at it now, it's up to 1.3 seconds over Jake Bustos in second. And as we see the 9 of Riley Gomes now going around the 74, next man up is going to be your leader, Matthew Dyer. That'll get him his lap back. But I think if you're Matthew Dyer and you stay out too long here, the strategy of having those newer tires at the start of this thing might almost get kind of counteracted by the guys that have went in really early, such as Riley Gomes, maybe the guys that were a little bit closer to the front. Jay Stinson, Matthew Fritz, Grant Turner. We'll just have to see how this thing plays out. Is going to be approaching halfway here, just about 4 laps. And so as these guys continue to pan out strategies, actually, take it back. Matthew Dyer's going to come in this time. Not sure if he knew what we were talking about up here in the booth or just maybe saw some of the strategy going on, but I think that's a pretty good choice by the 28. Now the question is going to be the first man in the pits. Who is going to beat him out here? And it looks like, yeah, Riley Gomes has the lead of all the trucks that pit early. So what we're going to do here is pull up the track map and keep a close eye on it. Working into his box here is going to be the 28 of Matthew Dyer. Currently just going to come to a stop as Riley Gomes is going to be just now entering turn number 3, into 4. So we'll take a look from the pit lane cam here. Watch for the 28. There you go. Getting full fuel and 4 tires. Got it. He's going to come out, and it looks like he's going to be able to retain the lead. You see the 9 catching, but I think the gap was just too great. And by the time they work around, I think Matthew Dyer will be up to speed enough to still hold on to this lead. And there's the rest of the pack. And so now it'll just be a matter of these guys pretty much fighting for second. I mean, without a caution, I just don't see any strategy at this point that really beats what Matthew Dyer has got going right now for Grandstand Racing. But this pack, all the guys who have not pit yet, being led by Jake Bustos. This battle, though, mostly for second here is Robert Dudley, Chase Greer, while Jay Stinson and Matthew Fritz, 2 guys on new tires, go around. And let's take a look here, actually, compare the lap times. Jake Bustos, your current leader, who's going to bring it to the pits now. If we look at the lap times, last lap was a 41.2. This lap, the lap before that as well, a 41.2. You go back, you compare that to a guy such as Jay Stinson, who's been on those newer tires. In fact, let's go to Grant Turner here. And you see, you go back a 40.4. Yeah, that's a pretty big difference. Almost a second of fall off on what seems like not really all that many laps ran on these tires. That certainly tells you that Michigan is one of those tracks where you always want to have tires if you have the option. And now Robert Dudley has taken the lead here, at least for now, as we'll be coming to 11 laps to go in stage 2 as we cross the line. This time, Dudley first, Chase Greer second, and Tyler Dudley third here at Michigan. We're going to step away, but we'll go side by side. You won't miss a thing. Stick with us. Back live at Michigan International Speedway for the H&H Tractor 200. First race of the playoffs for the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Rays. Up front, the rookie Chase Greer. And, of course, your regular season champion just behind him, Sam Boutwell. And a little bit of an interesting dilemma here in terms of strategy, expecting that your leader should still have to pit. But, man, it seems like these guys are waiting until the last minute, even if that is the case. Is 54 laps now completed, expecting the stage break in just 7 laps from now at the end of lap 60. And I, again, don't believe that Chase can make it all the way, but if he somehow could, then I would think that this strategy worked out very well, get him a lot of points, then he could go into pit. Just would hurt him maybe in terms of track position for that second run. But if these were to all eventually get cycled out, we would expect your leader to be Matthew Dyer. He currently sits back in 9th. Ryan Gomes in 8th. Joey Hickok 7th. Randy Bonomi in 6th. Russ Kilgore in 5th. Travis Johnston in 4th. He's battling Zach Stevens pretty hard here for that third position. But it looks like Zach Stevens is going to bring it down to the pits this time, so Travis will take over that 3rd spot. Boutwell in 2nd, and Greer still leading the way. If you're Matthew Dyer here, you're probably hoping that somehow these guys can't make it again. I think if he stays out another 3 laps, there's a chance he makes it, but I just didn't think they had enough fuel. Again, 70%. When we went green, there was still a decent amount of laps left. I think around 27 or 28. But Chase Greer certainly doesn't sound like he's really saving as you see him running the top line. So still no signs of pitting here, working his way down to the bottom, but he's going to go around yet another time. No, he's not. Here comes the 40 truck into the pits, and I think that's just going to about end the debate of guys thinking about staying out here till the end of the stage. Russ Kilgore, Joey Hickox, and Travis Johnston. The last 3 trucks, Ryan Gomes as well, actually make it 4 trucks that have not pit yet. And then it's Matthew Dyer who currently runs down the back straightaway. And you can see just how separated, actually surprised at how separated these pit stops made the rest of the field. But you can't forget about last season, how fast we saw Matthew Dyer at any of these 2-mile ovals, such as Auto Club. And then, of course, Michigan, and showing that speed here tonight, Michael Lawrence, who just went by there to put another lap down, saw pretty heavy damage on the right front of that truck because he was missing the entire fender. There you go. Not going to be too fast. A lot of air going right in the wheel well area there. And that is making that truck significantly under powers. I mean, you take a look at the straightaway speed. He's going to top out here at about, looks like 180 miles an hour down into turn 3. Matthew Dyer had about 5 miles an hour at minimum, more than that. But it looks like we're going to have a couple more pit stops here. Russ Kilgore brings it in. So does Travis Johnston and Ryan Gomes. So it looks like everybody on fuel still going to come up just over 3 laps short. And as Matthew Dyer crosses the line, 58 laps complete. He has 3 more laps before the end of stage number 2. Stage number 1 did go to Grant Turner. The 28, though, had a lot of speed. And we talk about how important the playoff points are going to be when you can get them. And so right now, every time that a driver gets a stage win, you can be just a little bit more conservative in some of these awkward situations. Matthew Dyer looking to try to hold on here for 3 more laps. And I actually thought they got lap 58 last time. Looks like they're going to get it this time around. And if we go further back, again, talked about really not sure exactly what happened to the rest of the field. I mean, Justin Parham, hats off to the 19. The amount of track position he has made up through this stage. Needed a caution to get some help, but with that, he was able to get all the way back up to second. And if things were to finish off correctly here, him and his teammates could be lining up 1-2 here for the final stage start. Matthew Fritz back in third, but he's up 17 from where he started. So one of the Hickox Racing drivers we certainly know has a ton of speed here tonight. Grant Turner back in fourth. Riley Gomes rounding at your top 5. Sam Boutwell, though, looking to take that position. He's going to do just that as Riley, the first man in strategy, worked out initially, but it starts to hurt him in the latter portions of the run, as you're seeing right here. And so Robert Dudley back in 7th, just behind those two. Chase Greer in 8th, Jay Stinson 9th, and Zach Stevens currently rounding out your top 10. Justin Parham doesn't look like he's got any chance of catching Dyer, who, by the way, is an entire 6 seconds in front of the rest of the field. And, you know, I kind of got to wonder if on that pit stop, Matthew Dyer maybe chose to just take 2 tires. One of the few guys that we didn't really get a look or confirmation on exactly what they took. But, I mean, man, with as fast as he got out, you have to think he tried some sort of strategy. And, in fact, let's go back here and take a look at this pit stop and see if he indeed chose to take just 2 tires. No, I mean, he took 4. You saw both sides get jacked up. So he really has just put that much time down on the track better than everyone else. Not sure if a lot of guys had penalties or just weren't conservative, but they're going to have to figure it out for stage 3 because right now he has been on rails. 1 lap to go in stage number 1. Matthew Dyer out in front. 1 more straightaway and a set of corners to go. You can see he is still driving that truck pretty hard as he got just a little wiggly there in the middle of the corner. Robert Dudley now taking second away from Justin Parham. So Justin maybe threw a little bit of strategy into this mix as well. And, man, how about the run for Robert Dudley here late? Matthew Fritz going to pick up that position from the 19 as well as they go down into turn 3, or at least try to. That's going to be a battle all the way to the line. But up front, it is going to be the Grandstand Racing driver, the 28. Matthew Dyer wins stage number 2. Back here, this battle for 4th, Matthew Fritz trying to hold on all the way to the bottom. Looks like he is going to get it over Justin Parham. And the rest of the field all going to come to the finish as that will conclude stage number 2. There's the caution flag. And so everybody will come down, top off on fuel and tires. And I think we'll see a little bit more or less of what we saw on the initial start of the race. Everybody going to be on an even playing field again. And we are going to see a lot of hard racing for the next probably about, it's going to be, looks like 35 laps or so to go once we get the green flag. We are going to take another break. When we come back, we will get a word with your Stage 2 winner. Stick with us here at Michigan. Back live at Michigan International Speedway for the H&H Tractor 200. 2 of 3 stages complete so far. Grant Turner, your stage winner for stage 1. And the man that we got in the booth now, Matthew Dyer, wins stage number 2. Matthew, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, the truck's looking fast, but it sounds like maybe you had some strategy play to get you to the point where you're at here tonight. I mean, when we saw the gap coming to the line there, over 6 seconds, I mean, how did you manage to pull that off?
When I saw, the caution come out on 30, I just thought back to when the guys pitted, on lap 10 during the first stage and just how much quicker they were able to get up to the front. So I kind of used that to my advantage of, knowing just how much quicker, fresh tires, even though it was 10 laps difference, still to have that fresh tire. And I was able to use the fresh tires during that run to get out front before the green flag pit stops and kind of build almost a 2-second gap there. And then once I saw some people starting to dart off into the pits, I knew I had a good enough car to at least pit and just kind of use that fresh tires. But there's a lot of people that I noticed that were also maybe trying to save a little bit too much, and it was just too far. You had to save almost 3 laps in a track like this with how much you're wide open. It's too hard to save 3 laps of tires. So just paying attention to also just the previous years and how other people have won this race too, is just really just taking advantage of fresh tires.
Well, we know how important stage points are, but even more important would be if you could get the race win here tonight. We will find out. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck the rest of the day. We'll see if we're talking to you at Victory Lane later.
Thank you.
All right, Matthew Dyer, driver of the number 28. And tell you what, you think these guys aren't multitasking in the trucks? He was playing strategy out in his head at the same time while driving fast, so if you got to put money on someone, I think the 28 would be a pretty good bet right now. A lot of speed so far, but still going to be exactly 36 laps to go here before this thing is all said and done. We will see if Matthew Dyer can hold on. It's going to be really tough here right at the start, as, again, the first time since the start of the race that every single truck should be on even tires. And so now it's going to be a battle of just trying to see who can get the clean air and hold on to it for when these tires start to wear out. Back into the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. Stage 3 is underway. Really good jump for Matthew Dyer. And when I say really good, I mean about 5 truck lengths good. He's going to jump out to a 4/10 of a lead right off the get-go. But further back, they're quickly going to start to get organized here as Matthew Fritz, Robert Dudley, and Grant Turner all fall in line. As we see Dudley start to work to the top, the racing is all currently out back. 3 wide. Looks like Chase Greer, the rookie, right in the middle of Jake Bustos and the 19 of Justin Parman. Oh, almost some contact between David Traylor and Chase Greer. David going for everything he can get right now, and he is on the bottom. That's a little bit of a kind of a scary place to be on cold tires. The truck does not want to stick. And he is putting a lot of reliance into it here as he still stays on the bottom, not pulling any draft. Can't move up just yet either as Chase Greer still sits to his outside. And looking to see if he can maybe get clear on at least one, if not 2 of these trucks down into one. And he's going to dive it extra low. Chase, though, still holding on in the middle. Jay Stinson, you saw him making the move up top. He is going to get clear. And everybody that was just fighting 3 and 4 wide. Looks like they've got it settled down further back. Chase Greer is now going to be able to slot into line on the outside. You see Joey Hickox. He's fighting for positions as he goes to the inside of William George just behind Chase Greer. And it looks like the 4 truck of Russ Kilgore. I thought he was going to give Joey a push, but instead he's going to take it 3 wide, almost 4 wide here. Now they are going to go 4 wide. William George to the middle. Looks like Russ Kilgore quickly is going to back out. 96 follows in suit. Didn't like what he saw. So as they get back down to 2x2 up front, they're going to get even now to 2x2 as that's Matthew Fritz in the 29 machine looking to see if he can get his way to the front. We saw him get the win at Auto Club earlier this season. You know he knows how to get it done at these 2-mile ovals. Can he do it here tonight? Got to get by on the inside while he's got the tires to do so. Maybe a little bit of a slide job here off of turn number 4. He's going to get clear. Can Matthew Dyer maybe cross him back over right here? Big run for the 28. Fritz left the outside open. Dyer had enough momentum to get to it. And I think Matthew felt like that he wants the bottom more. His truck working better for him down there. He feels like he's in a better position to try to slide job the 28th and keep the momentum up top. So that's what he's going to try again through 1 and 2. But it doesn't work out. And interestingly enough, I think the bottom's got to be probably a little bit better of a choice through 3 and 4. You're not carrying quite as much speed. 1 and 2, you got so much speed that the top, of course, you're going to be able to get more momentum through. But Fritz starting to slowly wear down those tires. Oh, man, pig slip right there from Matthew Dyer. He catches it, but it was a similar sort of situation that we saw with Justin Parham earlier, and that slip-up is going to cost him probably about 5 to 6 positions right here. He's going to be able to get in line behind Sam Boutwell on that outside line. You see Jay Stinson to his inside. Riley Gomes heating up his back bumper, so that will give Matthew Fritz the lead. Robert Dudley in second. Grant Turner back, try to go for the lead again. He currently sits in third. And this is not at all what we saw in that second stage halfway through. This time, everybody staying pretty close together as a result of that draft that everybody's grabbing. And we did put a poll in chat if you guys thought we would go green the rest of the way or not. And it looks like out of the 3 people that voted, all of you said no chance. So we will see if that were to be the case. It seemed like once they got spread out, wasn't as much racing going on. It's before we get to the green flag stop that really makes you nervous. And speaking of that green flag stop, we went green with just about, looked like 36 laps to go. And these guys can all make it about at least 20 laps or so. And now I take that back. I would say... I'm going to say about 20 laps or so on fuel if they need to. So this should be a one-stopper the rest of the way. At least I would have to assume so. Assuming no cautions, that is. But up front, they are still going at it for the battle, trying to lead this race. Robert Dudley on the inside, Matthew Fritz on the outside. And again, just differing strategies. Some of these guys go right from the get-go and try to control the clean air. Other guys try to save a little bit of tire, then fight for it once the tires all start to wear out. Jay Stinson took a look to the inside, realized that they were getting ready to go into turn 1 that just didn't have the momentum, and at this point doesn't have the tires to make it stick that low. So he bailed out. It's going to jump up the track as, oh man, some contact to the outside wall for a couple guys. Justin Parham making his way back to the field now. Looks like he is up to the 6th position, looking for more. Riley Gomes in the 9. Maybe going to take a peek to the middle. Nothing there as David Traylor still on the top. And Joey Hickox, some struggles earlier, got in a wreck, had to use a fast repair, has continued to climb his way through the field, now almost back up inside the top 10. But that train on the outside still has not formed, and it is making for a lot of battling still up front on the inside. 3 wide as Robert Dudley and Jake Bustos go to the inside of Matthew Fritz. They're both going to get by without trouble, but it's Justin Parham who's making the big charge now through the middle, trying to get clear of the 29. He's going to do so, looking for a push further back. More contact. Now we got one off track. It looks like that might have been Zach Stevens in the 21. Saves it before he spins to the inside wall, gets back on track, loses a couple of spots. And DJ Mattis going to hop into this battle as well. I mean, if you look at it, everybody, it looks like right now that is 13th on up is within a second of the leader. It shows through this big cluster that we still have of everybody fighting for the lead. But now it's going to be Sam Boutwell who finds himself up front. Matthew Dyer back to the bottom. The 74 of Jake Bustos in the middle. Robert Dudley up top. And just when you thought Matthew Dyer was going to get buried in traffic, he finds a way to get right back up towards the front. And another look at the blink cam. Justin Parham, he slipped up a little bit and lost a couple spots. Fritz now has moved to the bottom there, about 6th truck back rather, trying to find some speed after it seemed like the top just wasn't really working for him anymore. And he is going to get clear up the 9. Riley Gomes stays low, gets a side draft off of Robert Dudley as he'll try to pick off yet another position. Take an onboard view real quick. Show you what these guys are going through. This is on board with Justin Parham on the inside, and you can see at this point he can't go any lower. Michigan starts to narrow down to really 2 lanes and kind of an optional 3rd lane right by the wall. But these 2 being the favored lanes, and all Parham could do is stick behind the 29 of Matthew Fritz unless he chooses to split him 3 wide, maybe give him a little push into the corner, and hope that the 29 is able to make some progress as he gets a big side draft off Robert Dudley right as they got into the corner. And up front, now you see Matthew Dyer. He's got the top side, and I would say what I think would be the preferred lane. Jake Bustos, though, able to roll quite a bit of momentum down the front straightaway. Looks like Dyer's going to go for a little bit of a side draft on the 74s. He pulls even going into turn number 1. We've seen Jake up at the front a couple different times here tonight. Has probably a couple of handfuls of laps led. But the amount of lead changes that we have seen so far in this restart, as Joey Hickox with some trouble out back right there. For a second, it looked like the 3 might have been shaking the truck. I think he just got a little bit loose. Of course, running the H&H tractor scheme here tonight, sponsor of the race. But yeah, that just cost Joey a couple positions as he regroups here, but continue to lose positions. Not sure what's going on for Joey right here. Oh, they're coming into pits. We got our first round of pit stops. Jay Stinson, he's going to bring it in as well. So 25 laps to go. This seems really, really early, especially for these guys to make it on a one stop. And so I think if we see the rest of the field make it to at least lap 20, or with 20 to go, then I would definitely stay with the idea that they can make it on one stop, but maybe a little bit of a strategy call here by Hickox Racing. Maybe the fuel window just opened at 25 laps to go. They're going to try to get out early and hope that the short pit maybe gets them the track position, maybe expect a caution somewhere in between as well. And here in Michigan, if you're up near the front, you don't lose a lap, so it doesn't look like Jay or Joey are quite going to lose a lap as Bustos and Dyer drag race down the front straightaway to grab 24 laps to go. As 49 Robert Dudley closes up on the back bumper, they actually are going to go by the two Hickox Racing drivers, so I'm going to retract that previous statement, but I think Joey and Jay should be able to get that lap back relatively quick here on these new tires. Ooh, Grant Turner washed away at the track, made some contact with the outside wall. He catches it, it's able to come back down, and there you see the 31 and the 3, Joey and Jay. And we will see just how quick they can make up the track position that they lost, but they're going to have to try to get their lead lap back here before we get a caution. You certainly wouldn't want to get trapped a lap down. Matthew Dyer now back out in front. We saw how good he was able to pull away during the strategy play. Now that everybody's on an even playing field, you got to ask yourself, how good is that 28 truck here tonight? Jake Bustos showing a lot of maturity there for the rookie as he's just going to push the 28. Knows that the 28's in the playoffs and is maybe a little faster right now. Says, hey, man, no need for me to race you. I'm having a good run here in second. You go out there and get it. We'll go through pit stop, see if I can find something. But now the 28 and the 74 starting to stretch it out a little bit. Got about a half a second now over the third place truck of Sam Boutwell, who, by the way, I mean, let's give Sam a lot of props here tonight. Over the season, a lot of consistency for the 47, but here tonight with the playoffs, I mean, has come to life so far. 47 has been fighting up inside the top 5, top 3 here quite a few times tonight. And you can certainly tell that he is eager to go see if he can make it to the Final Four and fight for a championship here this season. Just behind him, Robert Dudley, Matthew Fritz, 2 more of your playoff drivers. And there's Justin Parham, Riley Gomes, and David Traylor. 3 more of your playoff drivers, all back through 8th. And as all of these guys continue to stay out and fight, all eyes are going to continue to be on the strategy here being played by the guys that decide to pit early. Looks like Zach Stevens has made it into his pit box now as well. And William George maybe tried some strategy, but it's Jay Stinson and Joey Hickox who continue to carve their way through the field on those newer tires. And with what the fall off that we saw earlier was, I would have to think that there's a decent chance that if these guys got into pit road pretty fast and out, that maybe they do get by your leader, Matthew Dyer, once he decides to pit. And just as I say, your leader, Matthew Dyer, Jake Bustos has actually reclaimed the lead here over Matthew Dyer. Oh, Dyer, big slide. The 28 trying to save it. He does. But as he catches it, that's going to cost him, it looks like, at least a 10th. Jake Bustos playing a little bit of a safer route. Talked about showing the maturity with just giving a push to the 28, and that's why you do it right there. Make the guy make a mistake. Don't necessarily force him into one. And so as Jake Bustos reclaims the lead, that puts Matthew Dyer in dirty air. And all the hard racing that these guys continue to put out, that is exactly what Joey and Jay want to see. It looks like Chase Greer has made his way into his box as he is now exiting the pits. And Jay Stinson still going to be trying to look for his lap back as he's getting ready to go around the 90 of John Lynch and the 25 here of DJ Madish. And so that'll be the 7th spot truck that they're trying to go around. Ooh, Justin Parham gets door-to-door right there with Robert Dudley. There was some contact between those two trucks as we're going to have 3 more takers now. Riley Gomes, Richard Hurst, and Matthew Fritz. Back up front, looks like Tyler Dudley moved into 11th, battling Grant Turner for that final top 10 spot. Jake Bustos, Matthew Dyer still out on track. Sam Betwell back in 3rd. And I mean, ooh, man, that is a cluster we got going on. Let's go back here for just a moment as these guys looking like maybe increasing the chances of us getting a caution here before this thing's all said and done. And you see Jay now starting to stall out just a little bit. He's rolling the top, but he needs these guys to realistically try to let him go a little bit sooner. It's Randy Bonomi on the bottom. 4 wide there for a moment. Joey's going to have to try to do the same, and that gap narrowing down. It's not going to work. Bonomi gets turned out of line. The 66 saves it as he works his way back onto the apron and now back on track. But you can see that's just some of the desperation starting to set in for all these guys. You got guys on new tires trying everything to get around these guys on older tires so that they can make use of them. And it looks like finally Jay and Joey going to be able to do just that. 1 or 2 more trucks in between them and tracking down the leaders to get that lap back. But man, oh man, strategy so far not going exactly the way of Hickox Racing. Again, we'll see how it all pans out once they come off of the pits, but looks like Grant Turner, David Traylor, Sam Boutwell, and DJ Madish have all made their way onto the pits now as well. And we will see here if Matthew Fritz, Jay Stinson, actually looks like Fritz is already pit now as well. And he has came out in front of his two teammates. Riley Gomes has also pit. He comes out in front of Jay Stinson, who finds himself buried a little bit further than he wanted to be. Again, just as a result of all the battling that we saw. And so as Matthew Fritz is going to get his lap back, I now would put that 29 in prime position as he will be the first guy to get his lap back right along with William George. And so each lap that Matthew Dyer stays out, it's going to be more work that they're going to have to spend, more time rather, they're going to have to spend trying to track down all the guys that short pit. And we saw Riley Gomes be the first guy to try the short pit strategy in stage number 2. Didn't seem like it worked out for the 9 the best. Certainly seemed like Robert Dudley had the best strategy through stage 2, along with Matthew Dyer, who of course won the stage. But changing things up a little bit as Jake Bustos is going to pit this time. So is Matthew Dyer. I think that was a little bit of a late commitment by the 28, but man, he really sent it into the pit entrance. That's going to make him up a lot of time, and now the question is going to come down to where do these guys all cycle off on? Matthew Fritz currently being scored as your leader of the guys that have already pit. And if we pull up the track map here and take a look, currently halfway down the back straightaway, as we go to the pit lane cam, you see Matthew Dyer and Jake Bustos just now pulling into their box. They're going to take 4 tires and fuel here. Of course, going to be waiting on tires over anything else is Matthew Dyer making his way off of turn number 4. Here he comes roaring down the Michigan front straightaway. It looks like Matthew Dyer just now pulling out of his pits. And this is going to be close. What it looks like here is I think Fritz will get by the 28 of Matthew Dyer. But the bigger question is going to be by how much does he here? And how long will he be able to hold him off? There's the rest of the field roaring by. And so there's Matthew Dyer. There's Matthew Fritz. Fritz is going to come out ahead. And he'll probably come out ahead by about a second before they get down into turn number 3 and start to even out. But, man, Matthew Dyer on much newer tires. Strategy for the 28 machine so far looking like it's going to be the favored one. But he is going to have 2 guys actually that he's going to have to get around before he can put his eyes onto the back bumper of that 29 truck. See if he can track him down in these next 14 laps. And actually, take it back. Looks like it's going to be 15 laps to go as we cross the line that time. And if you go back here to Matthew Dyer, Jay Stinson, all the guys that have now pit. I mean, everybody's pit except for Russ Kilgore, your leader. Ooh, like thought I saw somebody get out of shape right there. I guess not. Off of turn 2, William George sitting behind Matthew Fritz. You got to tip your hat to the strategy that George has pulled so far, but Russ Kilgore down the pits, so he will surrender the lead. There's Matthew Dyer looking to the inside of Riley Gomes and William George, and I mean, just getting by with absolutely no trouble. He'll clear the 96 out of 4. And the gap now between Dyer and Fritz is, it looks like less than a second. So Matthew Dyer is going to track down and go right on by the 29 of Matthew Fritz. And if you're Fritz, there's just not much you can do. You're really going to need a caution. And it seemed like the late pitch strategy was the strategy call so far tonight. We saw Dyer play it in stage 2, playing it here in stage 3, and right now he has certainly got the fastest truck. And I don't think he wants to see any sort of incident or caution these next 14 and a half laps, because if he doesn't, then I think he will be able to lock this race up. The Manny Rays 29 machine now getting ready to be pressured by the 28 of Matthew Dyer as they work their way off of turn 4. The gap now just under 0.2 of a second. And again, we know that a win doesn't necessarily lock you into the next round, but I mean, it basically does, assuming you don't have anything too crazy go wrong in the next race in the round. And Matthew Dyer, just in general, would love to get a win here tonight. Not have to stress that much for the next race that we head to here in the round of 16. And speaking of where we head to next for the round of 16 here, we started off the playoffs here tonight with Michigan. Of course, last week was the All-Star race, but next week we're going to head to Kansas. And again, only 2 races per round. So we'll have an off week after Kansas. Kansas is going to be kind of similar to Michigan, but I don't think we'll see quite as many lanes for racing. A lot of guys going to be on the top. It's going to be a fun one to watch, though, for sure, as that will be a night race. After the off week, we go to Las Vegas, another high drafting track. Track position going to be key there. Off week before we head to Chicagoland, and then the Championship 4 race going to be at Texas on December 9th. So, in hindsight, not that long to go in the season. And again, actually, I take it back. I kept saying round of 12. But the NOMA Truck Series does things just a little bit different. Being the trucks, they're going to skip right from 16 to 8 for the next round. And that's making it that much more competitive and making a win that much more important, especially with only 2 races per round. So Matthew Dyer got to be feeling pretty good if he can hold on here tonight. Justin Parham has moved into second, now sits 4/10 behind his teammate. We will see if the 19 has anything for his teammate trying to track down Matthew Dyer with 11 laps to go. Take a ride on board here with Justin Parham through 1 and 2. And I mean, tell you what, Parham is certainly doing everything in his power to track down the 28. He is pushing the issue big time right here. Sounds like he is really using up the good years that he's got on that truck right now, but he just wants to get close enough where he can stay in the draft. If he can do that, he might be able to let the tires settle down for a couple laps, try to take a shot at the end, but he knows if he stays patient for too long here, then eventually Dyer, maybe with a little bit of a tire advantage, starts to pull away. But man, Justin Parham is tracking him down right here as we cross 10 laps to go. Every time he gets closer in the corner, he pulls that much closer on the straightaways. Oh, further back, Richard Hurst with some trouble. And it looks like 76 truck, they went for a little bit of a detour right here. Let's take a look. Off of turn 4. Oh, the 7 of Grant Turner. Big trouble. Surprised that did not bring out the caution. The 76 was able to miss it. Now the caution's out. And hold on just a minute. This is going to change everything. As Grant Turner got to the pits, you got to wonder what was the caution for. We saw Grant Turner with big trouble off of turn number 4 here. But I don't know if that was exactly what had brought out the caution or not. Let's take a look first at the incident here with Grant Turner. This is coming off of turn 4. Does he just get loose? Yeah, he does. I mean, this starts all the way back in turn number 3. That's William George and John Lynch together. And is there going to be maybe some contact between these guys? You see Lynch on the outside, and yeah, Lynch just gets to the back bumper of William George. Maybe slight contact. Gets the 96 loose, sends him down the track into Grant Turner, who gets up. Hard contact with the outside wall. And Richard Hurst does a phenomenal job of avoiding it. Then the caution does eventually come out here. You gotta wonder exactly what it was for. And certainly assuming that it might have been something to do with that incident, but let's see here if... Yeah, I'm thinking it's something to do with that incident we saw at turn 4. I think Race Control decided that was probably caution worthy, which is probably a good call. You had some heavy hits for a couple of these guys right there. So nonetheless, that is certainly going to throw a wrench into the strategy here. I mean, Grandstand Racing was looking like they were going to get a 1-2 finish and just be battling it out between the teammates. And now it's going to be a late race restart, and we have seen just how chaotic those can be. As we take another look here at this incident involving Grant Turner. So William George gets loose, gets down into Grant, who just has nowhere to go, tries to save it, overcorrects. Bam, that's a big hit. And man, John Lynch did a phenomenal job avoiding it, as did Richard Hurst. Fortunate news for Richard was that he had to go down into the grass to do so, but saves himself a fast repair and some track position as well. As going to see everybody pit here except for the 05 of Travis Johnston. Parham into the pit, so is his teammate Matthew Dyer. We'll see who wins the race out of pit road right here. And you've got to kind of wonder if anybody would consider any two-tire strategy. Don't think it'd be a very good call here, as we're still going to have probably about 5 laps to go. That's enough time to where you will get eaten up on 2 tires. And it looks like the Grandstand Racing teammates are going to come out just as they went in. 1-2. Dyer leading him out. Parham in second. But again, one of the non-playoff drivers here, Travis Johnston, looks like maybe going to try a little bit of strategy with staying out. We will see if that stands. John Lynch looking to see if he can get a wave around and a lap back right here just behind him. The 07 of Michael Lawrence hoping to do the same along with the 22 of, looks like, Tyler Dudley. Excuse me. The 22, I take that back, of Robert Dudley. God, some of these guys mixed up. Robert Dudley in the 49. I meant to say Ryan Gomes. There you go. So the 22, don't think he's going to get it. Don't think the 07 will either. But I think John Lynch should get a lap back from this caution. And if he does, then that would put him back on the lead lap. And all of a sudden, the 90's chances at this race could come back to life with another caution or two. So as they line up to get the 1 to go, we will take what's hopefully our final break of the night. Assuming no more cautions. We will be back to find out who is going to win the first race of the playoffs here tonight at Michigan. Stick with us. Back live at Michigan International Speedway, getting ready for a 6-lap to go restart. On the front row, it's going to be Travis Johnston and Matthew Dyer. Dyer on new tires, Johnston on old tires. Green flag is back in the air. It's a great jump for the 05 to 28, trying to get through the gears. And Matthew Dyer quickly going to jump down in front of his teammate in the 19. Justin Parham does not want the 19 to get to his inside through turns 1 and 2. And he's going to be able to hold that off as you see Johnston quickly going up to the top line, watching up to the top line rather. Those old tires just not going to do much for him further back. A lot of 3-wide action as everybody fighting for whatever position they can get. And next time we come around, it'll be 5 laps to go. Not long left here at Michigan. Justin Parham now to the inside of his teammate in the 28. This could be the battle for the win. 3 wide now as it looks like David Traylor in the 54 trying to split his way through the middle to break into the top 3. And his trailer actually stays on the outside. It's going to be Jake Bustos who's going to have to tuck in behind the 54. The 29 of Matthew Fritz on the bottom. Talked about the 29 truck. Certainly he's got some speed, but he was going to need a caution. He got it, and now yellow flag is out again. Trouble out back. Big wreck. And it looks like the 96 is in it. Jay Stinson as well, and the 25 of DJ Maddish as they continue to wreck some more. The 3 of Joey Hickox also involved as it looks like that truck has come to a stop here. Doesn't look like it's damaged too bad. As there he goes, he's going to get it refired. Does a little burnout to get it going. Ooh, Keith Prince, heavy damage. And Keith, we saw have to take a fast repair earlier, so this is going to end his night and not a good start to the playoffs for the rookie. Let's go back and take a look. This is going to put us now in our first overtime. So as we do go take a look, you see they're 3 wide here. And actually, I'm not sure if this is exactly where the incident starts. I think this incident's going to start a little bit further ahead, so we'll take a look from the blimp cam. And they're 3 wide. Oh, just not going to work. DJ Maddish, man, hard contact into the outside wall. It's going to start between him and Robert Dudley right here. And so if we go to a little bit of a closer view, looks like DJ and Dudley. DJ starts creeping up and a little bit of net code between them, but again, DJ just slightly creeping up. Maybe not intentionally, but of course, sometimes when you get close like that, it's what can initiate that net code. And so once that net code starts up, turns to 25 hard into the outside wall. The 96 of George had nowhere to go. And then Jay Stinson, pretty big shot to the back of that truck. Richard Hurst gets involved. And this one was a lot of playoff drivers involved. And then secondary portion of the wreck here is going to be Joey and the 03 of Keith Prince. You see Joey with a major lockup right here, just trying to get slowed up. And so this is that secondary portion of the caution. This is a really interesting look. Watch the wreck up front and then watch these 4 guys behind. They see the wreck and, oh, Joey and Keith just get together there. I think Joey was literally just starting to bail out of it as him and Keith make some contact. And almost an exact similar look to the wreck that happens right in front of them. They fan out 4 wide and yeah, Keith just coming up the track a little bit. Again, initiates a little bit of right rear net code. And the 03 goes hard up into the outside wall, gets tagged by the 22 of Ryan Gomes. And then does John Bell somehow find a way to sneak through this? Yeah, sure enough, he does. As you see Joey hard lock up the brakes. He's just going to try to get stopped before this thing gets too crazy. And does spin up the track as he gets it refired. But let's take a ride on board real quick there with John Bell. It's certainly a little bit of an odd-looking wreck. We don't see him happen quite like that often. But John Bell, while he may be a lap down, certainly does a really, really nice job of avoiding this one. Take a look. And man, just narrowly splits the gap. I mean, you saw there, held a straight wheel, and the seas just parted for him. Take a couple more views of the first part of this wreck. As we go back up to the 25 of DJ Maddish, watch the hit. Boom, lifts that truck, the back 2 tires off the ground. That's going to be a fast pair, I would almost guarantee you, for the 25. And then, man, another heavy hit backwards for William George and DJ Maddish. And then George down the track here trying to get it off into the grass. Both of those trucks heavily, heavily destroyed. And we will take one more look here from TV2. Just hard racing at the end of these races. We see how crazy things get as everybody fighting for track position. The playoff guys all going for a win. And once you start to get these late cautions, they tend to breed late cautions. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing there. And what we could potentially see right here is, again, this is going to send us into our first overtime of the night. And it looks like Justin Parham is going to be scored as your leader here. As lane choice, he's going to choose the top. Matthew Dyer on the bottom. Matthew Fritz is going to be lined up on the outside in row 2. He will have David Trailer to his inside. And so if you're Parham here, all you got to do is hold off your teammate for 2 laps. Sounds simple, right? I'm thinking not. Matthew Dyer is going to race him just as hard as if he wasn't a teammate right here. But I think they will still make sure they keep it very clean between each other. What they don't want to do is let somebody that's not a Grandstand Racing driver sneak by as they're racing each other. But if we can make it to that white flag, complete the first lap, then this race will be official. However, if they can't, caution comes back out. We'll rack them up and try it again. Again, we got 3 attempts at a green-white checkered if we need them. So we could do it 2 more times. Buck 5947 says, let's go Justin Parham. And we will see. The 19 of the 28 certainly looking like a good bet for either of the Grandstand Racing drivers that they're going to get one of their guys a win here tonight. And a pretty good look. Again, can't say officially punch ticket, but a pretty good chance to move on to the round of 8 here in just a couple weeks. But I'm telling you, Matthew Fritz, David Trailer, they've got something to say about it after that. It's going to be a row of non-playoff drivers looking to maybe steal in here, and Jake Bustos and Travis Johnston. And you're going to have to go all the way back to 7th, 9th, and 10th to find 3 more, and Riley Gomes, Chase Greer, and Sam Boutwell. Overtime number 1 into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go at Michigan. Good jump for Justin Parham. He's quickly going to jump to the bottom. Further back, a lot of disorganization. This restart, everybody trying to get up to speed. Looked like there for a second. Trailer thought about trying to split Matthew Dyer on the bottom. Nothing working as Matthew Dyer is going to stay tucked on the inside. Now Parham's going to block his teammate down low. Dyer trying a little bit of a cross up here to the top. No momentum yet, but the 28 is going to have a run down the back straightaway. We will see. Does he try to take it here on the 19? Big run. Matthew Dyer is staying in line for now. And no move yet, actually just stays behind his teammate. Very respectful right there. Everybody else keeping it clean as of right now through turns 3 and 4. As they come around now onto the front straightaway, the white flag is in air, and they're going to see it. 1 lap to go at Michigan. Grandstand Racing 1-2. But who is going to win it? Matthew Dyer with another big run to the back of his teammate. No move yet. Now here comes Matthew Fritz on the bottom. Fritz trying to see if he can get clear the 28. Doesn't look like he's going to do it as up top. Here comes another big run now. Looks like from the 54 of David Trailer. Big push to the 28. Is it enough? Matthew Dyer is now going to dive down low. Can he get a move on his teammate? Final time into turn number 3. Dyer has to send it in as deep as he can. Going to try to slide up. Justin Parham trying to carry the momentum. He can't do it. Now he gets back to the top. Some contact with the wall. The 19 gets loose. They're going to fan out 3 wide out back, but up front, the 28 of Matthew Dyer wins it at Michigan. What a finish, and he pulls it off. Grandstand Racing not quite able to go 1-2, but what a move from the 28 through 3 and 4. And he gets the job done. Man, oh man, let's go back and take a look at this finish. It all starts with the big push down the back straightaway here from David Trailer. And that was enough to get the 28 to the back bumper. In fact, let's go to the blimp cam to show you just how quick this all closes up. And now you see the 54 with the big arrow push to the 28. Gets him a chance to dive low. And if we were on older tires, I would say no way this works. But newer tires, the 28, Matthew Dyer is going to dive all the way to the inside. And now it's about trying the slide job. He's able to just complete it. Actually does give his teammate a little bit of room, but Parham just gets loose, getting up top in the marbles, not able to hold the momentum. And as they fan out, at this point, Matthew Dyer, he knows that he's got the job done. And all he's got to do is cruise to the finish. He is your winner at Michigan. And he's going to take it by actually 1/10 of a second. As we go back, I want to take one more look here. Looked like we had a pretty good little wreck out back between some of these guys fighting pretty hard. I think we might have had... Oh, no, looks like it might have just been one truck spun, actually. We'll take a look at that one here. And there you go. Just guys fighting really hard. And, ooh, yeah, the 05 Travis Johnson got turned up. So Robert Dudley goes for a spin down low. Chase Greer gets involved in that as well. And then just everybody piling after last lap. Everybody staying in the throttle. Man, what a win for Matthew Dyer. And that is going to take a ton of stress off next week for the driver of the 28. You see Matthew Fritz bringing home the second place run, and then Justin Parham rounding out your podium here tonight. As we take a look at the finishing results for the night. Matthew Dyer, your winner here at Michigan. Matthew Fritz finishes in second. Justin Parham in third with David Trailer in fourth. Jake Bustos in fifth. Ronnie Morrison finishes up in sixth. Riley Gomes back in seventh. Sam Boutwell in 8th, Zach Stevens 9th, Randy Bonomi rounding out your top 10. It's going to be Tyler Dudley in 11th with Russ Kilgore back in 12th. Richard Hurst 13th, Jay Stinson in 14th. Joey Hickox 15th, John Lynch in 16th. DJ Madison 17th, Chase Greer in 18th. Robert Dudley in 19th with Travis Johnston in 20th. Ryan Gomes 21st, Keith Prince 22nd. Michael Lawrence in 23rd, William George 24th. John Bell 25th, Grant Turner in 26th. John Shileno, in 27th, and Mark Jackson 28th. Those two trucks did not actually make an appearance on the track here tonight after struggles early, or pre-race struggles, I guess I should say, is they never actually were able to make it out onto the track. And so now we're going to go see if we can get your top 3 here for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Michigan. All right, and we're going to start with your third place finisher here tonight, Justin Parham. Justin, this is Austin off the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, on that last restart, it looked like it was going to be a Grandstand Racing 1-2. Come up just short of that, but a great finish for you and your teammate. Gets himself the first win of the season, first win of the playoffs here tonight. But, man, a lot of hard racing between you guys those last 2 laps. Break it down for us.
We was just trying to race each other clean, just make sure one of us walked away with the win. I couldn't really be happier to walk away with third than what I am with the way the race went, because I know I was leading there to start with. I got loose going into, I think it was, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3, or 1 or 2, or 1 or 3. I got loose and got swallowed up in the pack, and then they wrecked in front of me, and I got involved, and it took me all the way back up to like lap 80 something to get back up there. So I'm very happy with third and happy that Matt won.
A little bit of an interesting format with the way the NOMA Truck Series works. Only 2 races per round, and you know you're going to be looking pretty good on points after this one. So how do you approach Kansas next week to make sure you can kind of punch your ticket to the round of 8?
I just stay out of trouble, as I believe I'll be able to run good enough to get some stage points, hopefully the win, but at least get stage points and at least be able to make it to the next round of the chase. That's all I got to do is be, top 12?
Top 8, it looks like, the way it stands. But I'll tell you what, before we let you go here tonight, it was a great run for you and your teammate. You bring home third. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
League for putting everything on, letting us race every week, giving us something to do on the weekends and having a good time at doing it, and y'all for doing the streams every week.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us. And I'll tell you what, we'll see you next week at Kansas.
Yep, have a good one. All
right, now that's going to bring in your second place finisher. Hickox Racing delivers yet another good finish, and it comes in the form of Matthew Fritz. Matthew, this is also up at the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you come home second with a photo finish for a second there at the line, 3 wide on the bottom. A lot of hard racing here tonight, but it seemed like maybe a little bit of a struggle early to find the speed, but you found it late. What adjustments did you make on track?
Man, I don't know. The first stage was terrible for me. I wasn't very good in the high line, so I found the middle lane, and that helped a lot. And truck was just very loose, so going up on the brake bias helped a lot. And some good strategy, pit strategy from my teammates. And wow, I second. I can't believe it.
Well, a good run. Next week we head into Kansas. I want to ask you kind of the same question that we just asked your third place finisher. You got to feel like you're going to be in a pretty good points position. Does that change the mindset for Kansas, or do you just go out and try to go for the win again?
Yeah, just go out, try go for the win. I love Kansas, so I'm very excited for that track.
All right. Well, before we let you head out here tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, my teammates, Jay, Joey, Randy, Sam was in there. Great group of guys to run with. Sponsors, Manny Rays, big shout out to Manny Rays, and my mom's pet sitting business is on there. And Nancy's watching; she's always rooting for us, and you, Austin, for broadcasting.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us here tonight. Again, congrats on the second place finish, and we'll see you next week at Kansas.
Thank you.
All right, and now that is going to move us on to your winner here tonight. The other Matthew Dyer. Matthew, this is all set up at the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, man, you make the pass through 3 and 4, but it looked like you had to set it up for all 2 laps of that overtime. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, like Justin, my teammate, so I didn't want to, put us in a bad spot, but, I got to run, dove down the bottom, and I've been running the bottom the whole race. This is where the cart felt really, really comfortable, all race. So I was able to, and, Justin and I were talking about it, after the race, if it was anyone else, he would have blocked me. So, that's the good thing about having teammates up at the front and, being able to put, this Nightfall graphics, up here at the front and, in the victory lane.
Well, now that you got the win here tonight at Michigan, next week when we head to Kansas, does that alter the strategy in the sense of we're going to see something a little similar, a lot of heavy draft and high speeds there? Do you try to help your teammate maybe secure his way in victory lane, or do you look to go back-to-back?
I think it kind of depends. I think just the overall luck that, us at Grandstand have had this whole year, I think it's up, really up to chance. But, I know my chances are pretty good at Kansas because I've gone back-to-back several times at Kansas. I think I have the most wins at at Kansas City in this league. So I definitely know how to get it done at Kansas. So if I get into a spot to get Justin into victory lane, because I don't think he's gotten there yet this season. So it's really just trying to get us to hopefully the championship 4. So we have 2 people fighting for the championship.
All right. Well, good run here tonight. Before we let you head out, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you for broadcasting each week. It's always fun to go back and watch, how the races went. So, a huge thank out to you, and a huge thank you to the admin team, and especially to Johnny for being your race control for putting this on every week. Just taking the time to do this. So, huge shout out to them. Then a huge shout out to Nightfall Graphics for this amazing paint scheme. Thin Line Racing, BRN, and H&H Tractor for being the sponsor of the race too. So so thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us. We'll see. Can you make it back-to-back next week at Kansas?
Thank you.
All right, so just wrapping up your coverage here tonight. Good race, good win for Matthew Dyer, and what a finish we got to see there at the end. Expecting more of the same and maybe even more excitement next week at Kansas. Make sure you tune in to find out. Tomorrow night, we head over to NSRA's Sunday Select Series for some Legacy Daytona action in the Truck Series. Going to be a fun one over there. As for tonight, I hope everyone did enjoy as always. Thank you all so much for coming out, and until next time, have a good night.